This was insane to witness as the Colorado Avalanche complete a thrilling overtime to take a win over the Washington Capitals and continue their road trip, which they are now 2-0 on with 2 games left to go. It was a game where you saw the depth chip in the entire time, where Nathan MacKinnon didn't even register a point, and the Avs still brought in a win, showing off just how much depth they have. And even Cale Makar didn't have a point in this game. So the Avs at every level can chip in whenever they need to, and we're going to be going over just what happened in this game with the captain Gabe Landeskog returning and the Avs getting 2 more points on this road trip. So welcome in. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're not part of the Cool Kids Club, hit the subscribe button for us all and join the family. But without further ado, let's get into this win against the Washington Capitals. So a bit of an early game here on Sunday, 10:30 Mountain Time, and it featured the return of the captain, Gabe Landeskog, who had been out for a couple weeks. He actually had things to say about this injury as well. From Corey Masiak, he said that the Avs captain, Gabe Landeskog, said that he had a quick surgery to fix some things after taking a shot from Cale Makar, well, in the nuts. And that's in his own words. So kind of surprising to see that he actually had to have surgery for that. Avs love to be cagey about their injury details, so finally learning what happened to Landeskog kind of explains why he was out so long after something that didn't seem all that serious. Also confirmed that he did, in fact, break his ribs earlier this year when playing against Florida. So got confirmation on that injury months later. Thank you so much, Avalanche. And was good to see the captain return to this lineup. And it did kind of turn things around here. It was an interesting matchup. You had Landeskog with Nelson and Kadri and Nichushkin on the top line. I thought it was fascinating to see what they did with the bottom six, putting Nick Waugh as the 4C, letting him be back in his natural position at center. And I thought he was good all game. And the stats support that he was pretty dominant all game long. A guy that analytically is great every game in Jack Drury, but just cannot produce points for you. That is the biggest problem with Drury's game. Cannot consistently find production, and Nick Waugh gets the second goal of this game. In fact, he even said here again from Corey Masiak, Nick Waugh has 3 goals in 9 games with the Avalanche. He had 5 in total with the Leafs in 59 games. So I love Nick Waugh. He was my favorite guy that the Avs got at the trade deadline, other than Nazem Kadri at least. I was pounding the table as my number 1 third-line center. Was happy that they brought him in, and this is the reason why. He's now up to 8 goals on the season, tied with Ross Colton, and gets that nice little assist from Zakir Bardakov. Here's the breakdown for the whole game. You can see it was a bit of a grind fest for this game, and they only had 24 shots, and the Capitals only had 22. So sub 25 shots for each team. Really just kind of sluggy back and forth in the neutral zone. The ice was terrible from what I understand. Blackwood, I just want to mention, had a solid game. Ends the game with, I think, a .909 save percentage. Made a lot of the saves he needed to. The one from Justin Sordiff, the first goal that the Capitals get on the leaderboard, wasn't my favorite, but whatever. Gabe Landeskog ties it up. Gets the easy feed from Martin Necas after a great forecheck by him. Feeds the captain for his 10th of the year. Awesome to see him back, and it immediately pays dividends. Then you get your Nick Waugh goal, and then Alex Ovechkin from where else but his office, scoring a bomb of a one-timer for his 1,000th goal of his career. Want to shout out Alex Ovechkin, and that is with playoffs combined, because if you're a hockey fan, this is history in the making. This is the best goal scorer that has ever lived. So props to Alex Ovechkin. Wanted to give him a quick little shout out, but wasn't enough. The Avs go into overtime, get the point, and then Brock Nelson, who wasn't really having a good game up to this point, ties it, or doesn't tie it up, wins the game for you on yet another easy tap in because Necas took over the overtime, and it was utterly insane to witness just how good he was on that overtime shift. I mean, mentioned before that Nathan MacKinnon didn't have a point and then really only had one shot on goal for the entire game, and it came in overtime. Necas steps in, immediately just takes over, starts dominating shifts, gets plenty of chances, then unreal high skill play, makes a pass through three guys, finds Brock Nelson on the back door, something that the Avs have also struggled with all season long, and it was an easy tap in for Nelson. His 32nd of the year, so the Civil War general keeps on plugging away, getting goals wherever it counts. So awesome to see. Devon Taves gets the assist there. You love to see that as well. And the Avs take another win on this road trip. It's a 4-game long road trip. They have the Pittsburgh Penguins next, but they've gotten off to a great start on it. Dominant performance against the Chicago Blackhawks and grind one out against the Washington Capitals. If we take a look at what these stats are, the biggest problem you had in the last few games were that the depth really wasn't contributing. It had to be the top guys. And of course, that's what you're paying them to do. But on a night where MacKinnon and Makar go quiet, even though I thought Makar was playing really well, Martin Necas comes in and just dominates. So any one of your guys can be the best player any given night. Necas comes in, was utterly fantastic, was the best player for on the ice in general on both the Caps and the Avs side. And another problem that you had was Brock Nelson was going a little cold in the goal streak for a little while. And that's just who he is. He's a streaky player by nature. And then you had Artturi Lehkonen and Gabe Landeskog go out with injuries. So you had a bunch of guys missing from your top point producers. So one of them comes back. Brock Nelson starts turning on his goal scoring again, and you're just chilling. You have no complaints about any of your players here. I am fully convinced if Gabe Landeskog was actually able to play most of this season since the month of December, he would have been on pace for 60 points. I guarantee you he would have been doing that well, but he still is making an impact anytime he's in the game. And looking at just the final stat cards here, this is courtesy of hockeystatcards.com. There it is, Martin Necas at the top, looking fantastic. And we can see that with the rest of the players, you had almost everyone in here except for the top guys. Unfortunately, not a good game for MacKinnon or Nazem Kadri, and sadly, Val Nichushkin either. Even though I think he's been really picking it up for the last few games here, just sucks to see that happen, but the D-core was pretty good throughout. Funny enough, your worst defenseman was Brett Kulak, which is crazy to see. I really liked everyone's game here. Manson Burns is kind of firmly your third pair right now, just in ice time distribution, but overall really loved what it means for the Avs here. Loved their game in general and had a lot of fun with this game. Even though it wasn't fun for the majority of it, you still love to see the Avs come in a game like this and really just take over even when it's not going their way. Logan Thompson was standing on his head early. The Avs were down one, and they just keep pressing. They get the lead, and they just win it out overall. Now, the one thing I didn't like, penalties. The Avs took way too many penalties during this game and made it harder than it needed to be. This game could have ended in regulation for the Avalanche, but it's okay. They have the most regulation wins out of any team in the NHL, and the Avs are still chugging along, getting wins however they can, which is what we saw of them earlier in the season. So great to see them return to this form. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. Catch ya in the next one, and go Avs.